Colorado family, I know you guys know this already, but we just lost one of our greatest defensive minds, our defensive line coach, Damione Lewis.
When we step out on, my name is Damione Lewis. I'm the defensive lines coach, defensive tackles.
Ready, go, run out, boom, there we go, boom, there we go, boom, there we go, boom, boom.
I've seen
Coach Lewis, I got one for him.
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen out of your group this preseason?
I've seen us come a long way from where we were in the springtime. You know, we're bringing a bunch of guys in from different schools and trying to get them to buy into one system. And I think they're doing a great job at that. Guys are working hard, running to the ball, competing in every down. So that's all I can ask for right now. Just see us steady getting better as we go.
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Niggas best up on my
Now, we just lost one of Colorado's greatest defensive mind. This is Damione Lewis, played for the Miami Hurricanes. I'm from South Florida. I know far too well of him. He was a All-Big East, All-American. I mean, this guy is a stud. 12th pick in the 2001 NFL Draft for the St. Louis Rams. Man, this is going to be a bummer. I mean, we had a lot of losses, and I will be showing receipts, but this is the second major defensive line coach, or just defensive coach in general, that we lost already. Now, we already lost Vincent Dancy, who got hired by Mississippi State. We also lost an offensive line coach to Mississippi State, but we don't really care about that one because the offensive line was still abysmal. Even with Cash Cleveland and Jordan Seaton, which they will heavily improve the offensive line, we needed a new coach there. But the defensive coach that we had in that line, I mean, listen to Damione Lewis preach and tell me Miami Hurricanes are not getting a stud of a coach.
Same mentality here.
When you going forward and you low, ain't a in the league gonna be able to block you.
I want our guys to have the mentality that we're gonna go out and outlast people.
Finish! Finish! Come on, finish it!
We're gonna go out and outwork people.
Oh, baby, there it is, boy! There we go, good run.
And we're gonna bring our A game every time we step out on the field.
You was too early. Let it make contact before you go.
I want our guys knocking guys back off the ball, resetting the line of scrimmage, being disruptive the best they can, and just going out and flat out dominating the game.
Damione Lewis has always been a winner. He was coaching 2 years at Seattle Seahawks, and Coach Prime gave him a position that he would not pass up. That's to coach young men getting ready to be men. And boy, did he lead Colorado.
With the Seahawks, like how much did that help you grow as a coach as you got ready for this position here?
Oh, it helped exponentially. You know, just learning the different phases of the fronts, going from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and just making sure guys playing the proper technique. So I learned a lot there. One of my best friends was the defensive coordinator and the D-line coach when I got there. And then I just kind of came up through the ranks. He became the DC, and I took over the defensive line room. So a lot of help, a lot of growth in that area. So I just really appreciate what they did for me in my career.
Nick, you go.
How did this job?
You guys got to remember, a lot of people like to say our defense wasn't that good, it wasn't that savvy, because Shedeur, having a cerebral mind that he had, he made the offense look so good. I know Travis Hunter is gifted as well, but no disrespect to Travis Hunter, we still seen Shedeur perform without a Travis Hunter, even when Travis got injured with the Jackson State University team, also with Colorado. Shedeur never dwindled his talent in the Power 5. You got to remember that part. So the defensive line was the people we needed up in that front of the trenches. We seen them become from a liability to the core reason why we won those 9 games. And honestly, we could have won 12 games if we're being for real. I mean, paying attention and looking at what Coach Prime is building up, who's the next coach?
Say, hey, we watched you on our coaching staff.
So we had just played Arizona, and probably 3 or 4 days after that, when our season was over with, I got the first phone call. Obviously, we were in limbo in Seattle because we didn't know what was going on, but I knew I had an opportunity out there if things went south. So things went south, and I took the opportunity when Coach Prime called and gave me the offer.
Something like going from the NFL to college. What's different, and what have you maybe liked better about working with college guys?
For me, it's just been the early on, like in the spring, just kind of tempering expectations because you know you got a lot of young kids. These are not men yet. So just getting them to play the way you want to and using the proper language and the proper style of coaching to reach them. coming from the NFL is, I'm gonna tell you 3 or 4 times, and then, we're going to do something about it. Whereas in college, you got these guys, they're here, they're students. On top of that, you're just trying to make sure that you help them mature and learn what you're telling them and learn what you're coaching them so they can replicate it out on the field.
Well, the Montepasco NFL stud has just been hired by Deion Sanders. We know Coach Prime, he moves quickly. He doesn't do the boo-hoo. I guarantee you Deion Sanders was the main man who told Damione Lewis, you should take the job. I mean, Miami is his all matter. And when you look at Mr. Pico, he is going to, you know what? I'll do a separate video on Pico because I think he also deserves the respect to not be dismissed in favor of us sobbing because we're losing Damione Lewis. I will be doing a video for the Montepasco because this stud has to be talked about and why this is a come up, and we're going to be taught the right way. But there's just only one big problem. With Damione Lewis getting hired by Miami Hurricanes, I started scratching my head. How deeply does the Hurricanes need a familiar face? And with Warren Sapp in the thick of things at Colorado, we're hearing rumors that Miami Hurricanes are desperately trying to get Warren Sapp to go to Miami Hurricanes. Now, I don't care what you guys say. This guy may not be the leading coach of the defensive team for Colorado, but he is the face and the voice of that defense.
It's one of the worst rush defenses in the country last year. How do you guys go about correcting some of those things, especially with this new personnel?
Luckily for them, I wasn't here last year, so that doesn't pertain to me. And I know we're going to go and get after the quarterback.
So when you go about trying to fit the run better, what are things you focus on?
I just take from my experiences. You can't be a good defensive line if you can't stop the run game. So that's always going to be a challenge. So every week, number one rule, we stop the run. So that's going to be our focus, and then after that, we earn the right to rush.
Troy, you got one?
What I mean by that, you can't purchase or hire a guy that brings the value that he brings to a team. Now, forget about the incident with the law enforcement, and I think it was in Hillsborough, Tampa. Your boy Warren Sapp is about to win a major lawsuit. You guys can go Google check it and go check that video out. But I'm much more rather talk about the extent and how far Warren extended the, I don't know how to properly say it and articulate it without getting in trouble, but he let his sack hang out with that defense. You get a Warren Sapp on your team, there is no defensive player that would embarrass themselves by not giving their all.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
For this commercial break, we would be sharing Black History Month with Mrs. Jasmine Crockett. We're going to introduce you to who she is and why you should care.
From civil rights attorney to the halls of Congress, Jasmine Crockett's journey embodies a new generation of leadership in American politics. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, she would forge her path through law and justice to become a powerful voice for change. Before entering politics, Crockett built her reputation defending civil rights cases, representing protesters, and fighting for criminal justice reform. As a civil rights attorney in Texas, she took on cases others wouldn't touch, standing firm against systemic injustice. In 2020, she entered the Texas House of Representatives, quickly emerging as a fierce advocate for voting rights. During her first term, she filed the most bills of any freshman legislator, focusing on criminal justice reform, voting rights, and protecting civil liberties. When Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson chose to retire, she personally endorsed Crockett as her successor. In 2022, Crockett made history, becoming the first freshman member to serve as the Congressional Black Caucus's leadership representative. In Congress, she continues her fight for justice, taking on voter suppression, standing up for reproductive rights, and pushing for police reform. Her legal background and grassroots experience bring a unique perspective to Washington. Jasmine Crockett represents a bridge between the civil rights battles of yesterday and today's struggles for justice. As she often says, the fight for justice is not just in the courtroom, but in the halls of power where laws are made.
you can pretty much assume the Hurricanes are going out their way to give this guy everything they could give. But I'm not afraid because Deion knows how to replace people. Now, I will miss Damian Lewis, and I will miss if Warren Sapp leave us, but I'll make a separate video on that. I wanted you guys to listen on to Lock On Miami, one of my guys, speaking about the hire of Damian Lewis, because a couple of the Colorado fan supporters, they were like, oh, he's a traitor, X, Y, and Z. He didn't do much at Colorado, but this is not the case at all. Miami Hurricanes supporters and faculties are thrilled to have Damian Lewis, and if you are not thrilled to have a coach like that, and if you are not sad being a Colorado Boulder fan losing Damian Lewis, then you don't know football.
Exceptionally well. Damian Lewis checks off the other boxes as well. And even if he hadn't played at Miami, I would still be excited about this hire because he starts his coaching career defensive line coach for the Seattle Seahawks. Quality NFL experience for 3 years. He left Seattle and spent the past 2 seasons where he gets the relevant college coaching experience working under Deion Sanders with the Colorado Buffaloes. And guess what? I know that people always, when they talk about Colorado, they're like, well, you know, great offense, no defense. That wasn't really the case. In fact, the defensive line at Colorado this past season under Damian Lewis's coaching performed exceptionally well. The Buffaloes, they ranked 11th in the country in sacks per game at 3 per game. And inside the Big 12, they were at the top in the important categories of the unit that Lewis coached, the defensive line. Colorado totaled 34 sacks, 79 tackles for loss, both of which led the Big 12.
Now, since we brought Warren Sapp name, one thing I did like is Damian Lewis basically ingratiating himself to Warren Sapp and letting people know that Warren Sapp should take the lead next. He didn't say it in that way, but he let people know how he's been a fan of Warren Sapp, and he knew Warren Sapp since he was 15 years old. They both went to the same school, Florida brothers. Why wouldn't he triumph with Warren Sapp? But Warren Sapp is in a position where he's still learning. But let's listen to Damian Lewis speak on his friendship and the values and things he has gained and learned from Warren Sapp.
Working with Coach Sapp feels like he's... How's it been working with Coach Sapp? Feels like he's bringing a lot of positive energy to the room. What has that partnership been like for you?
It's been cool. You know, Sapp is a Yellow Jacket guy. I've been knowing Sapp since I've been 15 years old because I grew up a Hurricanes fan. Went to Miami trying to emulate what he did while he was there. So it's been super positive. You know, he's a great guy. He brings a lot of expertise to the room. I allow him to get the space to speak and teach, and he's getting into coaching, so it's been awesome.
You got to look at it this way. Warren Sapp was not the head coach of anything at Colorado. He got hired for his expertise, but he also was on the job training. He was learning out as he goes. Maybe after another year, he can get the head position. But when we hired Pico, I don't know what position. I know he's on a defensive line, but I don't know if he's an assistant defensive line coach or he's a head defensive line coach. Stay tuned for the next video on Pico, and I'll explain everything furthermore there. But let's fast forward to Warren Sapp. We don't want to lose him either, and I would be bringing up more factual stats and explain to you why we need a Warren Sapp and we can't lose him as well. Damian Lewis, I've been knowing you since I was in high school. You're a great man. To see what you've done for the Hurricanes, words can't really express how I feel about you. And I think I actually known you at the 7th grade when you went to Lester H. White Boys and Girls Club to talk to some of the young kids over there. So I definitely like how you come amongst the community and you become part of that community. You guys check this clip right here of my man, Mr. Lewis.
Win, and that is my driving motivation.
We got to be able to play the game within the game. That's why we always talk about iron sharpens iron. So when we get back in July, it's go time. We ain't getting it our own way.
Let's go.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? Here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
You
Ballers on 3. Ballers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ballers. There we go.
When it's all said and done, men and women go to certain jobs or fields so they can grow and get better, then move on to bigger things. So I can't get mad at Damian Lewis for doing what he's doing. He probably has aspiration to become a head coach one day. And why not try to build your actual home school, your home-based foundation? So it makes sense. Nobody is mad here. And any fans want to denigrate Damian Lewis, you're not fair at all. I mean, look at Sean Lewis. This guy got hired to be a head coach, and he's done absolutely nothing at Kent State, nothing at Colorado, and nothing at San Diego State. And where were the fans to denigrate him? So I don't want to hear people calling Damione Lewis a traitor. He actually only had 1 year with us, and we knew what this was when he left Seattle. Look, man, I love Colorado Buffalo team, and I told you guys, whether Deion stays or leave, I support the university. Yes, I support Deion Sanders. That doesn't even needs to be talked about. But to think I'm only a bandwagon fan, maybe when I joined the bandwagon of where Deion went to, it looked like that. But you guys obviously can see for the last 2 years, I've been going hard in the paint to prove this ain't a bandwagon situation. We live this, we breathe this. Ladies and gentlemen, this will always be bigger than football and deeper than football. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed, family.
Heart been broke.